As far as the guy, at this point, I think, the way he's been playing, and as much I've been using this phrase, it feels appropriate to belt it out once again. You guys know his name. Say it loud with me. Say it proud. You know how it goes. Rain Dakota Prescott remains the hottest quarterback in the NFL and remains the MVP frontrunner, which, by the way, according to virtually every Vegas sports book you look at, he's the guy. He's the frontrunner. I think I saw like plus 160. So he's the frontrunner over Purdy, over Lamar, over Mahomes, over Hurts, over Tyreek Hill. He's the guy. Dak Prescott yesterday, again, I called it a very good game by Dak. 24-39, 2 touchdowns, 271 yards, no picks, but he did have the fumble that was picked up by Jalen Carter. That's why I bumped it down to an A-, okay? But a QBR 67 from 0 to 100, you'll take that, and a pass rating just a hair off of 100. Simply put, Dak Prescott, if you look at his numbers also in the last 5 games, again, has been the hottest quarterback in all of football. The Cowboys' 5-game winning streak, Dak has a pro football focus grade of 93.8. He has 15 touchdown passes. That leads the NFL. That's pretty good. And a single interception that span. I could have sworn. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Wasn't the narrative coming into the season that Dak was this turnover machine? And yet he leads the NFL in touchdown interception ratio. And that's something that I've been saying all offseason and certainly this year. Last year was a bad luck aberration. That's not who Dak is. Throughout his career, he's never been a high turnover guy, never been a high interception guy. And what do you know? When an offensive coach like Mike McCarthy, unlike the previous guy who's in LA now and how the Chargers look today, even before Herbert went down, a disaster. When you have a guy, by the way, shouts to Mike McCarthy. Okay, guys, listen, he is Pittsburgh tough, ladies and gentlemen. He's from Pittsburgh, okay? He is Pittsburgh tough. Had surgery on Wednesday, and he's coaching on the sideline on Sunday and doing his thing. Letting Dak get out to the pocket, letting Dak take shots down the field. Dak threw a dime to Michael Gallup. Game had been decided by that point, but nonetheless, gorgeous throw to Gallup in the fourth quarter down the left sideline. And also being able to control the line of scrimmage. That's something McCarthy made a point of talking about this offseason, that the offense is in Dak Prescott's hands. And I, for the record, been saying this for years. Dak is one of the best quarterbacks in football at the line of scrimmage. Is he Peyton Manning? No. Is he Tom Brady? No. Heck, is he Aaron Rodgers? Probably not. Those to me are some of the 3 best, obviously 3 of the greatest quarterbacks ever, but also some of the 3 best at the line of scrimmage. But Dak's in year 8. Dak's 30. He controls. He's seen everything. He's seen every defense that you could possibly throw at him. And he's controlling the game. Dak, even Collinsworth on the call last night on NBC, and Mike Tirico were talking about how Dak was discussing with them the night before about how he feels like he's mastered the position. I was talking about this with Tom Brady a couple weeks ago that, hey, Tom, the talent at the quarterback position is not bad. They just need to learn. They need some experience. Dak's got that experience, and because he's a coachable dude, because he's got the experience, and by the way, because he is absolutely clearly top 10. That's not even a discussion. Dak's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in all of football, and Dak is not just the front runner for MVP, I think the overwhelming front runner for MVP. Mahomes is out of the race. It's official. He can't come back. Hurts, it's going to be tough. Now, they got this 4-game stretch, but Hurts, pardon the expression there, but Hurts is beat up. I've been saying that for weeks. Tyreek Hill, while he is having a phenomenal season, he'll be a shoo-in for Offensive Player of the Year. I have a hard time seeing Tyreek Hill. Great as he's been, he's going to get the 2,000 receiving yards. Never been done before. It's going to be hard to see a receiver getting MVP, especially over a quarterback in Dallas who's playing the way that the quarterback in Dallas is playing. Lamar Jackson, I said before this stretch for Baltimore, given their upcoming schedule with no Mark Andrews, he has a real opportunity to at least put his name in the mix, although he's still got a ways to go to catch Dak. In the numbers, in value, all over the place. Right now in Vegas, in all the discussions, is it Dak Prescott or is it the Niners quarterback, Brock Purdy? Now, full disclosure, I have been a Brock Purdy guy from the jump. You can go back and look at the tape when they came in against the Miami Dolphins in relief of an injured Jimmy G and didn't play awesome, but again, he's coming in relief. It's a big-time moment for a rookie. Comes in, this kid out of Iowa State, plays really well, leads the Niners to the 2 seed, gets into the NFC title game, and hey, given how the Niners played against Philly last week, it adds credibility to the argument that had he been healthy for the NFC title game, the Niners would have been in the Super Bowl. So I have been a Purdy guy from the jump. You cannot call me a Purdy hater. But if we are comparing value, folks, it's not even a contest. Let's check their numbers. Let's check their numbers first. Real quick, I want to put these up there, okay? So completion percentage, Purdy beats Dak, 70.2. Dak is at 69.3, but darn near identical, okay? 70%, 69%. Both are very good. Tomato, tomato. Purdy, again, barely beats Dak in pass yards per game, 273.3 yards per game. Dak, 269.6. So, again, relatively close. Dak has Purdy beaten touchdown to interception ratio right there, although that 21-9 for Purdy is actually inaccurate. For some reason, it should say the 21-9 touchdown to interception ratio for Sturdy Purdy, if I could pull this up, should say 25-7. So I apologize. So that's inaccurate. Okay. But Dak has a worse pass rating than Purdy. Okay. Purdy 116.9, Dak 107.5. QBR a 0.1 off. Okay. Purdy's got him by 0.1, basically identical. And their records identical, 10-3. So Purdy beats Dak in some categories. By the way, Dak also beats Purdy in terms of team points per game as well. So you got to factor all those into consideration. So in terms of the stats, where Dak beats Purdy, not by much. Where Purdy beats Dak, not by much. So you can just basically call it a wash. This is where you factor the V part in. This is where you factor the V invaluable into the equation. If we're excluding offensive line, we're talking about skill position players. Outside of CeeDee Lamb, name me one Dallas Cowboy that would start for the 49ers. Name him. Jake Ferguson's coming on. I like what I'm seeing from him. He's not George Kittle. Nobody would argue that. Brandon Cooks having a pretty good season. He's no Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk's got another 1,000-yard season under his belt. Anybody else the Cowboys have? Again, CeeDee Lamb aside, not better than Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is a literal offensive cheat code. You can run the ball with him. You can throw it to him. He caught that long touchdown on the gorgeous throw by Purdy in that game. And while I like Tony Pollard, he, and as well as most running backs in the league, aren't close to McCaffrey. Aren't close. So Purdy working with more, and this isn't to take a shot at the Cowboys' skill position players because I think they're better than I thought they'd be. But they're not Pro Bowl level players outside of CeeDee Lamb. Outside of Lamb, no Dallas player, skill position, receiver, running back, tight end would start for the 49ers if the 49ers are healthy. So Purdy, and I love Purdy, but Purdy working with more has the same stats as Dak, who's working with less. So when we're splitting hairs here, that kind of stuff starts to come into the equation. Now, the beauty is, unfortunately, this is the beauty of it, that Dak and Purdy, unfortunately, will not face one another the rest of the season. They face back in week 5, and Purdy, to his credit, played awesome. Dak did not. Niners won 42-10. But this is a different Cowboys team. This is a different Dak Prescott. And once you get to the playoffs, I'm not saying the 49ers will be favored, should be favored, whatever the case may be. We got to wait till we get to that point and play these last 4 games of the season. But if we're talking about the quarterback advantage, I don't even think it's a discussion. This is why, even in week 5, when all the stock was in Purdy, mine included, by the way, because I love the kid, when all the stock was in Purdy, hey, he's better than Dak. If you put Dak and the 49ers, Purdy on the Cowboys, Purdy would still be even more productive. I'm like, that is freaking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that's not a shot at Purdy. That's a shot at the people who think Purdy is actually better at football than Dak Prescott. There's nothing he's better at than Dak. Dak's more accurate. Dak's more mobile. Dak's got a better arm. And Dak's working with less and doing just as much, and in some cases more. Dak Prescott, by a country mile, right now is the MVP of the league. He continues this over the next 4 games. Matter of fact, I will go so far as to say this. Dallas is 10-3. To win the division, the Eagles still have to lose another game because the Eagles hold the tiebreaker. Now, Dallas is the 2 seed, but Philly will have the better divisional record if they win out, so we'll put that aside, okay? Philly will have a better conference record, for the record. If the Eagles lose a game, which way they're playing is more than possible, and Dallas wins out, Dak should not only be MVP, he should be unanimous MVP. 14-3, obviously better stats than any quarterback in the league, with the exception potentially of Purdy, and Purdy is working with far more than what Dak is working with. And by the way, the narrative on Dak, well, he's a game manager. You know, he's not top 10. He's not elite. He's a turnover machine. And if the Cowboys win, it's going to be in spite of him. Every single win for the Cowboys this season has been because of Rain Dakota Prescott, who is the most valuable player. And I'll say it, what I said after the Seattle game, and certainly today, it ain't even a contest. It's not even remotely close. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.